Hey all, we're working on the challenge remove numbers larger than. This is in dictionary 4s in the Python practice problems. We're asked to write a function called remove numbers larger than. And given a number in a dictionary, we want to remove number larger than where keys, where we have values that are numbers greater than the given number. And we just want to return that modified dictionary. So we have sort of an example, right? I have a dictionary as input. I do have one value that is greater than 5, which is going to be our number. I invoke the function, putting in that number and the dictionary, and what I get returned is a dictionary that has that item removed. So the first thing that we're going to want to do is to just write the function header. We know that we have two parameters here. The first being n, the number that we're removing items larger than, and then d, the dictionary that's actually being input. Let's call this dct. Let's call this num, just so it's a little bit more descriptive. First thing I want to do is declare an empty list, and then I want to go ahead and iterate through the dictionary that is being iterated or that is being passed in as a parameter. So for key and value in dictionary.items, this is going to give us the ability to iterate the through both of the key and the values that are loaded into the dictionary. Now I need to double check that we're dealing with the right type of data, right? If I have a list in my value, then I'm going to get an error thrown if I try and check if that list is greater than or less than a number, right? So I need to make sure that we're talking about the right, we're only applying this to the appropriate types of data. So we're going to use the isInstance function, right? That takes two parameters. The first is the data type that, the first is the value that you want to check. And in this case, that's value. The second is the data type that you want to check. It is, right? We could say if this is true, right? But in Python, that's implicit. So if I just say if isInstant value comma int, it's going to return true if value is an integer and false otherwise. I do want to go ahead and throw in an or statement here because that integer is not the only type of numeric value that we could encounter. So let's also check and see if it's a float, we should still be able to make the comparison as well. So nested inside of this, I'm going to say if my number is, if my value, we've already determined that it's numeric in its nature. If that value is greater than the number, then I want to go ahead and append it to my empty list. I called that list Z. I'm going to do something a little more descriptive. That's list.append. And I want to do this list.append with the string of k. And then what I need to do is I need to, once I've got that string of keys that I actually want to remove, then I want to iterate through that list of keys, deleting each one from the dictionary. So I'll say for, let's just call it k in list. Let's use the delete function. I want to delete the dictionary. And the thing that I want to delete is k, right? This key. I've made a list of keys here that I'm going to want to remove. So I can go ahead and do that. Let's run this test. There might be a little issue with this. It says local variable k reference before assignment. And it doesn't tell me exactly where that's happening. Oh, that's because I'm referencing k instead of key here. Let's see what happens now. I'm still getting an error. Um, says should remove any keys that are values greater than the number. It's being returned a none type, right? And that's simply because I have foolishly forgot to return my dictionary after I've deleted items from it. And I can see this is now correct. One little issue in this is that I don't want to try it without, right? This assumes that we need to parse the key into a string, but in our example, all of those keys already are strings. So let's go ahead and just use this to be key and check what happens here. Right, we were unnecessarily making that happen. So we can see, right, we iterated through the dictionary, made sure the value was of a numeric data type, then checked if that value was greater than the number that we wanted to remove the items of, and we made a list of the keys that we want to remove. We then iterated through that list of keys that we want to remove, removing each of them one by one from the dictionary, and then finally returning that dictionary after we've made the modifications.